This is the NewsTrack and I'm Marya, Shakil. A blast at the Red Fort on November 10th. 14 innocent lives lost. Countless questions still haunt the nation. It was supposed to be a warning, a lesson edged in tragedy. Yet the question remains, have we truly learned our lesson? The SIT team of India Today has uncovered something alarming and deeply disturbing. A thriving, unchecked supply chain of explosive-prone materials operating in plain sight. Across Delhi NCR and Haryana, fertilizers like NPK and ammonium nitrate, mining explosives, fuel oil and even loose petrol are being sold casually without IDs, records or even basic checks. This isn't just a loophole, it is a full-blown collapse of oversight. These dangerous materials are supposed to be regulated, yet they are traded like everyday commodities. What's clear is that the real threat isn't just the bomb that went off that evening, but the system that allows the next one to be assembled with ease. Take a look at this special report.
Investigators probing the Red Fort car bombing in Delhi claim that white-collar terrorists had managed to amass 2,600 kilograms of NPK and more than 1,000 kilograms of ammonium nitrate from the villages around the Al-Falah University in Haryana's Faridabad district. In the aftermath, probe agencies have sealed the sales records of fertilizer shops in Nuh, Sona and Faridabad. But while the open sale of chemical fertilizers is prohibited, several outlets are selling them by fudging their records. Perhaps unaware that fertilizer chemicals like ammonium nitrate and urea are deadly when rigged with an IED. India Today's team went undercover to expose such outlets in Delhi NCR and Haryana. We were surprised to find that within days of the Delhi blast, fertilizers like urea and NPK, fuel oil and explosives used in mining were easily available. These are the same ingredients used in the November 10th Red Fort blast. This is Suresh Fertilizer Store in Haryana's Akbarpur Bharota, where we inquired about DAP and NPK fertilizers from shopkeeper Ritesh.
DAP मिल जाएगी? DAP हमारे पास NPK है 1450 वाला. NPK है.
Shopkeeper Ritesh showed us sacks of NPK to win our trust.
किस चीज़ में डालना है आपने?
फार्म हाउस में.
रजिस्ट्रेशन कर देंगे उसी टाइम आपका. अरे वो फॉर्म का ही जो किला नंबर होगा ना वही डाल देंगे. उसी से ही हो जाएगा. दिल्ली का यार. और क्या चाहिए? भाई ये चाहिए 10 कट्टे 10 कट्टे DAP दे दो. अच्छा NPK आपको तो आप DAP प्रेफर करोगे तो DAP भी हो जाएगा. उसके 1360 रुपये का रेट है. तो जो आप कहोगे NPK कहोगे NPK, DAP कहोगे DAP भी मिल जाएगा. ठीक है रितेश भाई, मैं फोन कर दूंगा.
We clarified to Ritesh that we did not have an Aadhaar card and that we needed to take the 20 bags of fertilizer to Delhi. Despite this, Ritesh struck a deal with us, saying that he would show the sale against his own land holdings.
लेकिन हमारे पास हम बोल रही है दिल्ली में तो दिक्कत हो जाएगी. नहीं ये भेज देना. टेम्पो गाड़ी भेज देंगे. वो हमारी एड्रेस से बाकी और तो कुछ नहीं होगा. अगर आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन तो मैं ट्राई कर लूँगा. हो जाएगा तो ठीक है, नहीं तो कोई ज़रूरत नहीं है. ठीक है. थैंक यू. नहीं तो फिर हम जैसे अपने हमारे नाम है कुछ किले.
Next, we went to Sonepat in Haryana, where we met Chirag, who runs the Shiv Agricultural Store located in the Kundli area. The pattern here was the same, chemical fertilizers being sold openly.
DAP मिल जाएगी? DAP मिल जाएगी. कितना चाहिए? और NPK और यूरिया? यूरिया सफेद रंग का. यूरिया पड़ेगा 270 और 220 490 रुपए का।
We told Chirag very clearly that we are from Delhi and that the fertilizers have to be taken to a farmhouse there. Chirag spoke to someone on the phone and he did not ask for any address or ID proof from us.
यूरिया डीएपी
दोनों ही दे दो।
कितने कितने? 10 कट्टे यूरिया 10 कट्टे डीएपी फार्म हाउस की चाहिए है। और आधार कार्ड इनके पास है नहीं पा। ठीक है 1550 का डीएपी पड़ेगा 380 का यूरिया जी। इसका यूरिया है ना जो यूरिया के साथ 5 बोतल लेनी पड़ेगी अपने नैनो यूरिया की। कोई नहीं मिल जाएगा।
Basai village in New district of Haryana, the same area from where the doctor terrorist Mohammad Umar had purchased fertilizers for making his car bomb. Here we met Pappu, an expert in blasting rocks in the Aravali hills. We told him that we needed 5 kgs of explosives to blast rocks.
और ये बारूद की जिम्मे आज ही कर दूंगा बस अभी कर लूँगा बात फिर काम से ही रहें एक जा रहे हैं तो मिल जाएगा 5 से बारूद।
Pappu described the properties of this explosive powder and also how it is used in stone quarries.
ठीक है तो फिर आप ले लोगे फिर मैं आपको बता दूँ कैसे होगा बस यही सरकार दीजिए फोन पर तो ये जो बारूद आप जो गिरवाओगे ये वो क्वारी वाले माइनिंग वाले मुझे ऐसी आवेगी जैसे मतलब देखो पूरी खास ना आवेगी सफ़ेद ऐसा आवेगी बत्ती चाहिए बत्ती भी चाहिए आप बत्ती भी चाहिए चलेगा तो बत्ती सही मुझे बारूद का रेट पता करके बता दो आप। ठीक है और मुझे 5 किलो के करीब चाहिए है ना। ठीक है आज बता दूंगा जी आप।
The other ingredient needed for an improvised explosive device is fuel oil. We struck a deal to buy loose petrol at a fuel pump near Basai village in New district.
खुला पेट्रोल दे दोगे? हाँ वो तो होनी चाहिए आपके पास बोतल कुछ 5 से कैन लिया मैं। हाँ दे मैं अपने ड्राइवर को भेज दूंगा है। अच्छा तुम 500 रुपये का दे दीजिए है।
We just showed you how easy it is to go around shopping for all the ingredients that make up a lethal crude bomb. These unregulated markets of Delhi NCR pose a direct threat to the security of the country. For a few thousand rupees, one can easily procure urea, NPK, ammonium nitrate, mining explosives, and loose petrol. Anytime, anywhere. With Nitin Jain and Rajesh Khatri, it's a special investigation report for India Today.
Joining me now, Dr. Kartha, former Director of National Security Council Secretariat. We have Yashwardhan Azad, former IPS officer and Special Director, Intelligence Bureau, and Major General Sanjay Meston, Defense Analyst, joins us as well. Yashwardhan Azad, your reaction on this investigation. One may say that we all know how easily it is available, but can there be regulation?
Well, you know, in a country like Australia, there is a very strict regulation and they have been able to do it. And because ammonium nitrate has been used in many of these blasts, there was a very strict control, rigorous protocol which was issued, whether it's the licensing, dealers, everything, transport, movement, there's a P1 form, there's a P3 form. But the question is that, like the black market, if everything is done illegally, then you can't do. I mean, and I understand that it's very, very difficult to, bring about very rigorous checks. You see, if you refer it with the case of, link it to the case of the Red Fort blast and the ammonium nitrate, these were being brought in small quantities and bought in small quantities, so which was not arousing any kind of, suspicion also. So if you are doing it in this clandestine manner, I suppose it is possible. If it's a bulk purchase, if it's a bulk kind of a movement, then yes, then checks can be
Okay,
there.
but Major General Meston, one may say that this is hardly any black market deal which is happening. It's being sold in open market and without any checks, without any ID proofs.
Yeah, absolutely, Marya. It is being sold in the open market. But the fact of the matter is that, firstly, there are large number of rules and regulations. But the problem is, are the rules and regulations being enforced? Enforcement is a problem. Everything is laid out. For example, in the armed forces, we handle huge quantity of explosives. We have very, very strict rules and regulations. And it is, supervised by officers. Everything we go on ground. Now, in this case, when it is being, of course, for the civil consumption for the farmers, there are rules and regulations laid down. But what happens is, the black market and the bribe and the cops, they are susceptible to bribes. So everything is happening in the open market. And unfortunately, this is happening. And this is a wake-up call for the whole of nation. Common citizen also has a role in national security. These people are just selling it off to earn daily profits, but not realizing at what cost. It is at the cost of the national security. So perhaps, firstly, India today deserves to be complimented for giving this explosive story on explosives. And this is what the whole country today is worried about, explosives. And it is so easy to be made, IEDs, etc. So why they're being made available, law enforcement agencies have to be tightened. And perhaps there is a necessity of, we have territorial army. Today we can use a lot of armed forces people, retired people, jawans, etc., who with high integrity. We have to have some checks and balances. In every system, if there are no checks and balances, then this will happen.
Okay.
What Mr. Azad also highlighted, in the open market, it is being sold. People are looking to make daily profits. And this is exactly what is happening.
Okay, let me
So
bring in Dr. Tara Kartha now. Dr. Tara Kartha, the larger question is that if it is, if it's for the use of fertilizers and the manner in which it is being sold, urea for example, then it is being seen that it is being used by the farmers for farming their lands. The assumption is that it will be positive, but in the hands of terrorists, it will have an implication of this nature, because some of these fertilizers are lethal, some are not.
Hey, good story, by the way. The thing is, see, this whole thing comes under one very obscure department. I checked as to see where does, what are the licenses involved. There's some department called Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Why do you have this at all? Right now, to be honest, let's face it, there are tons of fertilizer being moved around. I mean, and perfectly legitimate reasons. So it is, I would say it's almost impossible. That law was brought in 2012, the ammonium nitrate law, just after the blasts by the Indian Mujahideen, Mumbai, and one more set of, there was this, I think the Pune German bakery blast or something. Thereafter, these laws came in. Okay, great thing that the law is there. The line which I think you can draw, I mean, it's not possible to get all this stuff into some kind of control. Great if it could, can't be done. You could, however, draw the line at an actual explosive, which that man was selling blasters, he was selling, I mean, stuff for mining. That is where you can possibly put in more controls. But also, I think as of now, Marya, we've got too many laws. You need to somehow, bring this under, why is it under Ministry of Commerce? I don't know. When this government came in, I remember when the BJP came in, one of the first things they did was try to reduce the number of laws. I don't know what happened to that. I mean, we've got laws for everything, but nothing gets, like General Meston said, nothing actually gets implemented. But somewhere that line has, where you cross into actual explosives and detonators, that line has to be strengthened and not under the Ministry of Commerce.
Okay. Okay, so perhaps the other ministries should come in. Yes, Yashwardhan Azad, sir, go ahead.
You see, in United States or European Union or UK, I mean, there are the protocols which are laid down. For example, reporting suspicious transactions and things like that. But the issue is no matter how much you do, there will be a slip through the cracks. And ultimately, all this has to come under the purview of the intelligence, with community policing, the contacts. And even if you look at the Al Falah case, here we are talking about controls and protocols. I mean, so much of movement, many times, so many cars being used, not one person reported. That's a failure of the society, and that's a failure of community policing. That some were quiet because of fear, some were complicit, and some were just aloof, and nobody was there. There were no institutional protocols, there were no institutional oversight. So, this kind of a thing can only come by hard enforcement or intelligence or community policing
Okay.
or society wake up.
Okay. So the society has to wake up, and Major General Meston was also pointing out that there is a role of the community at large. Major General Meston, please go ahead. I'll give the last word to Dr. Tara Kartha.
Yeah, I think the issue which we have been discussed is very, very clear. This has got national security implications. Therefore, I feel perhaps the awareness for the people is very, very important. I think the role of the government of India and also the media can be very important. Like now you have covered this story. I'm quite sure at least it will, start making the people think this is happening in our country. So media can do a lot of education on all these things like community policing as highlighted by Mr. Azad also. I think these are what is community policing? Anyone in the village, he should be aware that these are the wrong things happening. These are the people are moving under suspicious circumstances. Therefore, these people should have, the numbers of people in higher ups, police or whatever it is. And these reports should be given to them so that there is a check and balance. Everything starts from the village level, from the shop level. And there are so many people who are just moving around, observing so many things. So I think the media can tell people that they need to observe everything. They need to report anything which they find suspicious. And if they find anyone making profits on all these lines of, selling these illegal materials to illegal people, like now this, your team has checked up for the rocks, blasting of the rocks. Imagine the detonators and, gelatin sticks, everything being sold so openly. No licenses, nothing. So therefore, what the thing is, media education, of
Okay.
course, tough enforcements. We can create some organizations. I'm telling once again, from the armed forces, there are so many retired people. Create them as
can be-
territorial army.
Yes.
Let them do something on ground to check all this.
Yes, because
the fear has to be there.
yes.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Tara Kartha, the fact is that the terrorists are coming up with new modules, and they are looking at ways of making explosives. That has to be understood, and hence our preparations and regulation has to match up to that.
Gosh, that's a really tall order, Marya. The only thing is, these are, in this case, these are doctors. So one assumes they know basic chemistry, right? When you cross over into RDX, then you're in a different ball game, right? Someone has to teach you to do that. You have to try it out. You have to make sure. I mean, these guys, I'm really surprised they didn't try out some crude bomb first, which is probably why it blew up in Red Fort. But those are the traces you can pick up. But you cannot really, and one more thing, if I can just quickly say this, you'll find much of this activity is concentrated in known criminal areas. So that's something I think in those areas you need your intel pickup should be much faster. Like, no, this area we know it's a hotbed of criminal elements.
Okay.
There's other parts. So that's one way we could go.
All right, Dr. Tara Kartha, Major General Meston and Yashwardhan Azad, thank you for joining us. We are putting out the story on our website and also on the YouTube channel. That's all from me. I'll be seeing you tomorrow. Thanks so much for watching.